Yes, but obviously the ranking system is built up with ranking points, and you get those for entering tournaments and playing and doing as well as you can in them. If you pull out of enough events, you're going to have this problem. And if Ronnie O'Sullivan doesn't commit to the whole season, this will be an ongoing problem. It's his choice, and I can understand. If he doesn't want to be away from home, if he doesn't want to do the travelling, he only wants to spend a certain amount of the year playing, that he's going to be penalised in one respect for our current ranking system. And other players, if they play in everything, could have more mediocre performances and be above him in the ranking list.
In fact, he was very nearly out of the 16. Mark Davis could have knocked him. I think he was about one frame away from knocking him out of the top 16 in Munich there. So these are very difficult and indeed challenging times for Ronnie, aren't they?
Yeah, he's got decisions to make concerning his own game. What I will say is, if he has to go and qualify for Crucible, there'll be a few people at home looking at the draw thinking, I don't want him first round.
Exactly, all right. Well, I mentioned Munich, which was the scene of the last PTC, the Player Tour Championships. That's the smaller events that are now currently in vogue in snooker circles. And the winner of the last one last week, in fact, was Stephen Maguire. Stephen's going to be in action later this evening in our 7 o'clock match. I think many colleagues would certainly not ignore a person who's certainly coming back to form. And he's up against Mark Williams, a two-time winner of this event, the Masters, but not since 2003. Let's just have a little bit more information about both men, and in particular we'll delve into the Williams vault. Heaven knows what we'll find in there.
I can get on with anyone really. I mean, just like to have a laugh and wind people up, you know. I mean, most of the people you meet are all like that, I find. But pretty much when you're out there playing, it doesn't really make any difference playing against, because, well, for me anyway, I just play the balls, and the opponent doesn't really matter. Probably my motorbike, just because I like speed really, and the car, nothing gives you the kind of speed you can get and acceleration you can get from a bike. No, at one time I used to play lots and lots of badminton, probably three, 4 times a week, but apart from that, no, I haven't got any talent. I wasn't really that good at that, to be fair. You always look at the draws, and if you're playing someone like, you know, Higgins, Henry and O'Sullivan, people like that, that's the ones you know you're always going to enjoy. It's the ones you don't know much about really that can upset you, because you don't know what they're going to do.
Getting the balance right between being far too nice to be a top-class competitor and having to go to anger management sessions is a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, Stephen's definitely plays with his heart on his sleeve, that's for sure. But you know, I must say that it definitely works. You know, I think yeah, he expresses himself on the table, which is, you know, it's fantastic to see. And if he's not too happy, he lets everyone know about it. But you know, it definitely works for him. It can be really intimidating for his opponents as well, and you know, just an awesome player when he's in the top of his game.
I like to see somebody get annoyed. I mean, possibly in the past it was never considered to be the thing, but at least, you know, the guy's completely committed, as long as he can control it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously you watch Stephen play and you can definitely tell when he's up for it or not. I mean, with me personally, I wouldn't be doing that myself, but like Neil says, it does help him, and it seems to bring out the best in him. I mean, the last couple of seasons he's probably not shown his potential, what he is as good at, but I mean, I've seen an interview a few seasons ago which Stephen was speaking about him, and he was saying that he could probably dominate the sport, the next person to dominate after Stephen, and at the time I would have agreed. I mean, he was a great player, and he still is a great player, but he's just lost his way a little bit the last few seasons.
Has he lost his way because the players have got better, or somehow he's stagnated?
Stephen was always a fantastic practicer. When he used to play in the same club as me, he played hours and hours and hours. Whether he's the same dedicated animal that he was then, I doubt a little bit. You know, I don't think he's maybe as in love with the game as perhaps he was. But in terms of you know, competitor, I would say fierce. His reactions around the table, I mean, he must have had a few sore knuckles in his time, and his cues taking some abuse, the bangs and everything. that's his character. But he didn't do that so much years ago when he was winning tournaments. So whether it's frustration that he's not, you know, winning the matches that he should be, I don't know. But in terms of a powerful presence around the table, there's very few like him. New generation coming through. He needs to dedicate himself more.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, sort of we've all came through, like myself, Mark, and you know, Steve Maguire, Murphy, Carter, all sort of come through at the same time. And yeah, Stephen was leading the race. You know, he was the one sort of, you know, winning tournaments before we did, and you know, he beat Ronnie O'Sullivan in the UK Championships, and Ronnie said he could dominate the game for 10 years if he keeps carrying on doing what he's doing. Yeah, I think it's probably just finding that balance of, you know, getting to the point where it's probably bad for your game in terms of temperament-wise on the table. I think that when he was working with Terry Griffiths, Terry seemed to sort of calm him down, and he seemed to do it at the right moments in matches. Where now he's perhaps doing it at times, and maybe his opponents are getting positive feedback, thinking that, you know, maybe he's not quite.
And the Stephen Maguire-Mark Williams match will be live on the red button from 7, or highlights, as you can see, at midnight here on BBC Two. And Stephen, John, I was looking at the stats, and Maguire is a 3-time semi-finalist in this Masters event. Not quite made the final step, obviously, but in matches against Mark Williams, he's won 4 out of their 5 previous meetings. So I'm not sure how significant that is. Does that surprise you?
It's a great record to have against Mark. I don't know how many matches of those were played in that period where Mark Williams was struggling a little bit, but if he's got that record, Mark Williams has been playing well, that'll be as good as anybody against him, because Mark Williams is, well, one of my favourite players to watch, but one of the cutest and cleverer players, and someone who, if you've got a record like that, you can be very proud of him.
Indeed, and obviously Mark Williams started the season as world #1, he's now world #2, obviously. But in terms of the way he has really resurrected his career, how would you fancy his chances coming here to Ali Pali this year?
I think you never discount Mark Williams because he's such a great competitor. I think this would really sort of put him back in the frame, completely back in, and this type of a win of this magnitude, and then puts him in with a big shout for something like the World Championship. But at the moment, he's sort of got to confirm himself again fully. But he's not far off it.
It's going to be a good match tonight, I would think, between those two, don't you think?
It's actually tough to win it, because Maguire is in very good form, just won in Germany. I thought he was playing great in the last tournament, he just didn't get a shot against Judd Trump, who played magnificent against him, so he's in good nick.
Yes, okay. Oh well, we're going to enjoy it at 7 o'clock. You can see it, as I say, on red button, or if you are an out owl, you can join us at midnight for that. Ali Pali has been a pretty busy venue over the last few months, because it's held the PDC World Darts Championship here just a couple of weekends ago. And one avid darts watcher, he loves the arrow, is snooker's world #12 Martin Gould. I'm sure he'll be absolutely glued to the BDO version of the final later this afternoon with us on the BBC. Now, Martin loves the arrows so much that he's even considered taking it up professionally at the Oki, maybe if things don't go so well in snooker circles over the next few years.
I love my darts. I don't get to play it as much as I would like. I do get to throw the odd few here and there. I'm always watching the darts, I just love it. The whole atmosphere, the way the crowd reacts and everything. Whenever the darts is on TV, I'll make sure I watch it if I can.
Yes, for the time. Double 10. It's there! It's there! Phil Taylor there! The champion in the 90s!
He's just an awesome sportsman. Like his will to win is phenomenal. He dedicates himself like 8-9 hours a day practice, and it's kind of like, I suppose, Stephen Hendrick.
Double top.
The dedication, the will to win, that's what I like to see in a typical sportsman. Kind of set myself a target for around about 35-40 to knock snooker on the head and put my heart and soul into giving the darts tour a go. Obviously, I know I need to put a lot of practice on my darts game, but because I'm quite natural, it's not too bad, so hopefully it won't take me too long to get on the tour and play against all the big boys on there as well. I don't know if Mr Taylor will still be around when hopefully I'll make it to that level, but I'd love to just have a game with Phil Taylor just to pit my wits against him. I've had a couple of spankings, Mr. Murphy a few times, but I've run him close once or twice. So I know if I can get on my game straight away and put him under pressure, then who knows? I don't mind if he beats me at snooker because I know I smack him at darts.
So Martin, we putting the arrows away. Tomorrow evening against Sean Murphy, you'll be able to see that one with us as well, of course. But he will, as I say, be glued to the BDO World Final from Lakeside. It's guaranteed to be, as ever, a very low-key affair. Are you ready?
So often, the nearly man. Double 10. Got a final! He's got it! What an epic battle! It does mean absolutely everything for Tony O'Shea to get through to his second World Championship final.
Many players don't experience playing in a Lakeside World Final, and it surprised me how tough it was against Ted. I've been there, I've done it. Even though I lost, I hope I've learnt enough. I mean, that semi-final was tough, and that's a 5-5 and almost a tie-break, which it was with Ted. I think I've learnt from that, and I certainly said, if I ever get to another final, I'll make sure it's a different result.
Game, shot, Christian Kiss on his Lakeside debut! The qualifier goes all the way to the final!
I don't think he realises how good he is. He's been that good this week, and the language barrier has been a major plus for him, because nobody's been able to get in his head. We sit around the players' room there, and everyone has a dig at you, the other players. But Christian's not got that problem, and I think that's been an advantage for him this week.
Gewoon rustig blijven hoor, gewoon jezelf blijven. Ja.
Well, I've got to say, I just don't feel any pressure. I'm going to go out there and be myself.
Tony's smile will be as wide as the Basingstoke Canal. How the crowd are loving this. Now he's crying, told you there'd be tears.
I've lost in every final of during the BDO Tour. I've lost in everything. The World Trophy, the IDL. I've had a 9 dart at the IDL, still lost. I've lost at the World Masters. I've lost here at the Lakeside. To actually win one would be just unbelievable. I would retire a happy man.
Will his luck change this afternoon? 5:45 BBC Two. It's the silverback Tony O'Shea against Christian Kist, the Dutch qualifier. What a story we've had this week at Lakeside, and Colin and the gang are all ready to welcome you there when we conclude here at the Snooker. Very much looking forward to that, as I'm sure Steve and John are as well. You darts fans, by the way?
Started playing.
Have you?
Yeah, I have to tell you about it. But I've started playing with my son in the garage. We put the board up. We're not very good. We have a go. And my son's going to love me for this. He missed the dart board the other day and hit the water pipe going into my fridge. Cost me 100 quid to repair it. The dart was still in there 3 days later. We couldn't stop laughing. Honestly, it's hilarious.
Oh dear, Josh. Parents, you do. Anyway, let's get back to talking about the snooker. Ronnie in a good position here, 3-1 in front. First to 6, of course, in these first round matches. Assess what Ding has to do over the next couple of rounds.
Well, a little bit more room for manoeuvre in a best of 11 to a best of 9. The bells are already ringing, 3-1 down in the best of 9. Really, he's just got to play and sort of see if it goes his way. Obviously, the thing is, Ronnie O'Sullivan as a front runner is always so hard to pull back. So it's going to be tough from here on in.
It's interesting that Ronnie's here. I'm not sure how you fellas got on when your kids were sitting in the front row. John?
I don't think I'd have been as good as he is, to be honest with you. My wife used to come and watch quite a bit when we were first married, and she'd always be at the balcony and out the way, and I don't think it's... For me, personally, I don't want to see anybody there because there's a lot of personal involvement and you can see their expressions and it might affect you. But Ronnie's